running your operations on stale data or static data is like driving your car, trying to only use your rearview mirror. It just really doesn't work. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining Innovation Group and our topic of bringing your data to life. We really want to get to the point where we can demonstrate the ability to show you how you can understand your data so that you can more easily adapt the way that you interact with your agents, your policyholders, your partners, your producers, and be on a future-ready platform. Before we get started, we have a few session reminders to put in place for you as well. The first one is we are going to be recording the webinar, and we'll be sending that out to you after the session. And we're also looking to provide as much information as we can during this hour, so we have muted the phones, but we do encourage you to provide questions, comments as they come to mind. And to do that, please, if you haven't already been able to see it, on the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side, there is a plus button for questions. You can see the area where you can enter in your questions or comments, and they'll be sent to us. And at the conclusion of the webinar, both Ben and I will receive those, and we will address those and again circulate those back to the attendees that we have in place as well. So good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Michael Polenko. I'm joined by Ben Moreland. We are both part of the global product management team here at Innovation Group. In addition to webinars that we have out regularly, we also contribute to a thought leadership website as well, where you can go in and look at some of the past presentations that we've done, and we invite you to go to that area as well. What we've decided to do is really partition this hour into a couple segments. The first one is to provide you with an insurer footprint, which you can see up on the screen at the moment, and then spend the primary focus of the day with Ben talking about bringing your data to life, being able to visualize your data, what we call the true digital journey, and guiding metrics around Insurer. And then I'll come back in at the end and talk about bringing data to your fingertips. So beyond just the natural operational reports, but the ability to track and support true service level agreements and metrics within the insurance process. With that, I'd just like to give you a quick orientation of the Insurer suite so you can understand our footprint and our definition before I hand it over to Ben. And really, when we look at our solution, it isn't a composite solution. It really truly is, as you look in the center of the slide, it truly is the rule of one. We have a single data model that controls all aspects of the insurer policy, billing, and claims aspects of the solution. A single mature tool set, configuration tool set that controls the workflow, the rules, product setup, and in addition, so for carriers who may not want to go in and list a source control management system independent of their solution, Insurer includes that as well. And everything that you see is exception-based process. We also include within that complete self-documentation, and those are the elements that we'll show you towards the end of the presentation as well. To be able to be a all-in-one solution and then enable the pieces that you want to have in place, whether it's policy and billing to start with or claims first, and then roll in to analytics or whatever paradigm makes the sense, is everything is around what we call a strategic client view. Everything is real-time, client available. And that includes the ability for content and document management, also includes all financial aspects. So Insurer includes its own, what we would call the Insurer general ledger. So all the accounts receivables and payables are accounted for as well. So anything coming in or going out of Insurer is balanced before it hits any other parts of your organization. A very key piece of our solution as well. Again, all of it is self-documented and available. Again, we're trying to provide the ability for you to be able to do your business and not have to document the play-by-play as you go through everything else. As we look at the slide, if we go outside of the circle of rule of one to the right-hand side, insurer policy for us, our definition of insurer policy includes billing. That includes full channel management. So that's your producers, your agents, their licensing, where they can sell, what products they can sell, their portfolio transfers, all the things that happen with mergers and acquisitions. all of that is maintained within Insurer as well. Complete, as I mentioned earlier, a comprehensive client view as well. And then we get to the table stakes of any policy processing system. It works from the beginning, so from your sales perspective, it's your quote requotes, your quote management, through binding and issue, policy change, and renewal. So comprehensive transaction suite for all aspects of what you would want to do on your day-to-day, point of sale, front office perspective. And then, of course, underpinning all of that from our configuration tool set is complete product management, rating, and reinsurance on the policy side. So all aspects are there from both a transactional and a financial perspective as well. Going to the bottom part of the slide, Insurer Claims, again, it's a comprehensive life cycle solution as well, kicking off with first notice of loss. That can be a quick FNOL, but it also can include triage, instant assignment, whether we're assigning the claim features or suffix, depending on what term that you use in your organization, to also assigning discrete tasks out to other aspects of your organization, whether it's a salvage or subrogation notice, plus tracking all of the details around property and vehicle damage and personal injury as well. All of those aspects and those components are included as well. Part of our suite too allows you to be able to address multi-channel. We have a approach to addressing perhaps your organization in a sense that you may have multiple channels, or you may white label, or you may have the ability to service other carriers as part of your business approach, your business model. We call those schemes, where we actually can drive from our configuration tool set multiple experiences in a single solution, a single deployment of the solution to address those. In fact, we have one organization that runs 110 different carriers within our solution for claims processing, for example, and each one of those comes with its own unique workflow and rule sets and service level agreements. All of those pieces, so on the right hand side and the bottom, are all aspects that feed into the main, or what I would call the core part or main office of the Insurer solution, the things that you do on your day-to-day basis as far as process and transaction management as a carrier. Now, those are all now available and realized within Insurer Analytics. And Insurer Analytics is in a different color on its side. We've made the decision to have it slightly extracted from the main office part of functionality and features so that we can leverage some of the unique things that are available out there from a business analytics and business intelligence perspective. With that, I hand it off to Ben Moreland. Ben, if you want to introduce yourself, and we'll get to showing some of analytics.
Thank you, Michael. I am Ben Moreland. I have been with Innovation Group for a little over 2 years now, focused on the data reporting and analytics for our Insurer suite, the Insurer Analytics tool that we have. Before coming to Innovation Group, I was with Celent for 3 years, focused on the P&C side for policy, as well as a lot of the architectural SOA, BPM, and portal reports. And prior to that, I was with the Hartford for almost a decade in their P&C Enterprise Architecture group, and I've been in IT for 30 years. So, moving on to the next slide. There we go. When we talk about analytics, a lot of times people get very confused, because when people use the word analytics, they mean basically everything under the sun, from operational reporting to advanced analytics, and when we talk with customers. So to help you understand where we position our solution, Insurer Analytics, I put up a different types of analytic solutions. This is not meant to be an exhaustive list, and the typical users are not meant to be exhaustive either, just examples. So there's operational reporting, which most carriers use within their departments. Those are static, predefined reports based on operational data from your policy or claims or billing or customer data sources. These are predefined, so they're static. The next one is what we call traditional actionable analytics, also known as operational analytics. Some people put business intelligence in this and mean more or less, another term that's overloaded. But by traditional actionable analytics, we mean dynamic interaction with your policy or claims data, including organizational performance. And this, we want to be the biggest number of users. These are the executives, managers, business analysts, claims reps, your special investigation unit people, your actuaries, underwriters, pretty much anybody who makes a decision or needs information in the process of a policy or claims workflow. This is where our tool focuses, is in that traditional actionable analytics. Other types of analytics, which we will feed, but we ourselves don't do, are predictive analytics. Statistical techniques to analyze current and historical data to predict the likelihood of future events and risk. And these are typically your actuaries and members of your SIU team. Geospatial or location analytics, which is the integration of your historical data and current data with geospatial imagery and GPS data to perform analytics. Text mining, looking at your unstructured text data to be able to put structure around it and do analysis on that unstructured data. And finally, big data or unstructured analytics, which is leveraging both structured and unstructured data, text, pictures, machine-generated data, et cetera, to find insights and patterns, such as Hadoop and MapReduce, et cetera. And these are going to be very specialized folks that are your data scientists, maybe some folks from SIU and others. So again, where we are going to focus our solution is in that traditional actionable analytics space. So how do people leverage Insurer Analytics? It is more than just a analytics engine. And when we talk with a lot of carriers, they don't really have good benchmarks on how they're performing on their day-to-day operations. They may have some data, but they don't trust it, or it may not be accurate, or it may not be complete. So as you put in our Insurer Analytics solution, it'll give you that benchmarking on your operations out of the box, which enables you to either establish your enterprise and department level objectives from a metrics perspective, or validate that they were actually accurate. Then you can leverage the KPIs, the analyses within the system to monitor how you're performing in those areas. Are you meeting your expectations? Are you meeting your business objectives? You may also identify improvement opportunities, efficiencies that are not being met, poor performers. And then once you've identified them outside of the system, you would execute those improvement opportunities, talking with your poor performers, or finding claims leakage, or whatever the task may be. Once you've executed those items, you'll then actually monitor and track those changes with the system again, which will then either lead to creating and leveraging new analyses and KPIs because you've got a good handle on that, or you might even refine or establish new metrics in the next year to drive further efficiencies and continue to mature your operations, especially against your competition. I didn't mention, but the first 15 years I was in manufacturing, and we had the term Kaizen, continuous improvement, and basically this is at the heart of it. So our analytics tool allows you to basically do Kaizen in the insurance space. What differentiates Insurer Analytics from a lot of the other analytic solutions that are out there, we categorize into one of three areas. Now, some of our competition may have some of these, but we feel we're the only vendor out there that provides a solution that it can provide you all of these bullet points. From a speed to market perspective, we have 580, actually over 580 out of the box analyses, policy, claims, organizational performance, as well as data management for your data stewards and your DBAs. They also have access to analyses and KPIs on the quality of the data and how well the ETL is performing. And this allows you day one to hit the ground running. One customer told us that to create the 10 or so analyses that they wanted at the day one would have taken them 4 to 6 months. So that was 4 to 6 months saved by enabling and leveraging these out-of-the-box analyses. It's a proven insurance data model. We've been implementing Insurer Analytics for the last almost 10 years now in different carriers in the P&C space as well as the title insurance space. And every one of those customers have extended our data model. So not only is it enabled them to have something that they can use for their very first phase as well as the subsequent phases, but very easy to extend. And we expect customers to extend it 20%. We have one customer that has extended it 100%. So the extendability of the model has also been proven out. In addition, we bring a lot of those extensions back into the base model so that the customers don't have to continue to manage and maintain those. From a business value perspective, we provide out of the box the ETL, and as you'll see in one of the next slides, it's based on the Microsoft SQL Server platform. But from the moment the data is extracted from your source systems, we will pick it up, we will run data quality checks, business checks, consistency checks. All of that's automated. So these are data and analyses that you can trust. Again, one of the biggest things we hear from prospective customers or our current customers with their past systems is they just can't trust the data. Is that earned premium with fees or without fees? What's the real meaning of that closed claim or that open claim? As well as a number of other definitions and words that are used. They mean different things in different systems. We work with you to bring consistency in that data governance so that when you look at it, everyone in the organization is seeing the same thing and you know exactly what it means. As I just mentioned, we are a Microsoft Dual BI partner. We run on the Microsoft SQL Server stack. So there's two things with this. Microsoft has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their SQL Server solution, and they continue to invest tens of millions of dollars every year to make improvements. We get to take advantage of all of those additional functionalities that Microsoft continues to add to that solution. In addition, because it's primarily based on the Microsoft stack, as well as the data model which we give our clients, you can basically run with it if at some point down the road you decide that Innovation Group and your company are no longer going down the same path. Basically, you can continue to grow it as if it's a homegrown system. There's no black boxes that you need to worry about. The data is current, accurate. It's updated on a nightly basis in most of our clients, or during cat season for the East Coast carriers when those hurricanes are coming up. We can update it through a configuration change every 4 hours, which is how often NOAA data gets updated. So it's as current and accurate as you desire. Browser-based, so any place you can access the internet from a desktop or laptop browser, you have access to the system. Our dashboards are available via a mobile device today, and a year from now we expect all of our analyses and the interaction with those analyses to be 100% mobile-based as well. And as I also briefly mentioned, the entire organization runs off the same data, the same semantics at the enterprise level and the department level. Ease of use is big for us because it's designed for insurance business users. We change from the 5% business usage, where these people are highly trained on a particular analytics product and you have to go through them. They become basically the bottleneck, to 90% business usage. We have one client in which they indeed have 90% of their business users leveraging the analyses, building new analyses, modifying the analyses. Guided analysis helps with the understanding of the purpose of the analysis and train of thought. We allow you to go down a train of thought that you may have in terms of filtering on a particular time or product or area or region, as well as you start to see more insight, being able to add additional measures and dimensions with no restrictions. And we can drill down to the lowest level data that you provide. From an architecture perspective and what we mean by data mastery, we can take data from any structured data source. As Michael had mentioned, we intentionally have built our analytics as a standalone independent solution because, to be honest, over half of the data that we bring into our solution is not from our policy or claim solution. If you do have our policy or claims, you get the integration out of the box. That's obviously a big plus. But as I mentioned, when we go in, and even if we leverage with one of our policy and claims, we're typically bringing in legacy data from a legacy system or another vendor system, and we have no issues with that or any other structured data source. As we build the ETL, leveraging the Microsoft SQL integration services, we work with you on that governance and that the data governance to get that consistent semantics. So that's where we'll define what does this earned premium field mean? Is it with fees or without? Do you need both? Well, then let's have two different entries in the data model so we can capture those separately. And now when you see the report, you'll know clearly what it is. We feed that data into our data warehouse where we layer on our insurance data model. We provide the facts and dimensions out of the box to enable that 580 plus analyses that you can then interact with through the pre-built dashboards. Everything in teal is what we provide as part of our Insurer Analytics solution, but we feel the data mastery space is bigger than that. And one that is very important to a lot of our customers is in the geospatial analysis or location analysis space, and we've partnered with Spatial Key, which is an excellent solution in that area, which is why we've overlapped them with our system. We've already got that integration. We have single sign-on out of the box with them, as well as templates to provide the data sets that you wish to send to their system. So that's a big plus for those clients. But we also get asked, can you feed our financial department or our accounting area if you want us to be the authoritative source? We can either be the analysis solution for your policy or your claims, or we can be the enterprise, and we have several clients who don't even have our policy or claim systems, and we are the enterprise analytics solution for them. So they leverage us as the authoritative source. We can position this solution however it best meets your needs, and what you've already got is your architecture. We can feed simulation tools, predictive modeling tools, and we're working with a couple of vendors to create more out-of-the-box integration with those kind of tools as well. And as Microsoft and others build more metadata tools to put structure on those big data clusters, we can bring that back into our solution as well. So that's what we mean by data mastery and what we provide. One of the things we also hear is this is so complex, where do we start? So one of the things that we have done is to create an innovation group data mastery maturity model. And this is under that thought leadership area that Michael had mentioned. If you go to our website, under news and opinions, you'll find thought leadership, and you can download the white paper, which describes this data model. I'm not going to go into the details, but the one thing I do want to focus on is even if everyone on this call agreed that our solution or some other vendor solution was the best one out there, you will not get the full value out of that analytics solution if you don't look at 4 other areas as well. What is your enterprise strategy and governance? How are you leveraging across your organization your resources, and how are you managing it? Whether you use a centralized or decentralized, you have best practices in place. What data are you integrating? Are you at the data fiefdom level, or are you actually now bringing in data from different lines of business? We have one customer that's not even bringing in data from lines of business. They're bringing in data from different distinct businesses themselves, which each have their own lines of business. As you bring in external data. And data quality. What type of data quality do you have? We provide that as part of our solution. So our solution helps you with a lot of these different dimensions, but as a company, you have to address them regardless of what tool that you're leveraging. So now I'm going to get into the demo. I'm going to give you an overview, a very quick overview of the layout of the screen and the navigation. The home page is where you put your favorite analyses or dashboards, solutions, or sets, and I'll get into what those are. But they're right there at your fingertips. You don't have to go and search for them. We have another tab, or what we call Spoke, which is for our dashboards, which are collections of related analyses. And then we have an Analyze tab, which is the slicing and dicing of your data, where you can create and modify analysis. You can interact with the analyses. You can drill down, drill up, train of thought, and I'll quickly show that as well. And then those 3 are the ones that most users will see. The next 2 are for your system admins. We have a data where you can manage your physical and logical data sources that you're bringing into the system. And finally, the System tab is where you create your groups. Users are created outside of the system, but then they're brought into the system. So once you've created the groups, you then can apply whatever level of security privileges you wish. And we can lock it down by user, by group. We have a classification hierarchy. At the highest level is solution, which organizes sets, which organizes the analyses at the lowest level. We can lock it down at the solution, the set, the analysis level, the dashboard, the data source. We can go down to the row level and lock that down depending on what your needs are. And then very briefly after that, I'm going to log in as 3 different roles. As an executive who is looking to monitor how his operations are performing, and he's going to see that there's an area that needs to be examined because it's in the red. And then the next user will be one of the managers in that region who actually is in the red, and what he can do to find out what's going on and what actions he needs to take. And then the last one is in-network and out-network director and being able to see what's going on there. So let me switch on over to the demo now. And I'm going to log in as Linda Analyst. And Linda is a system admin, so you're going to see all 5 of those spokes, those tabs at the very top: My Home, Monitor, Analyze, Data, and System. In addition, you'll see the analyses that Linda wants to have at her fingertips. One of the things that we do provide is we provide geographical maps. We can aggregate out of the box down to the 5-digit zip code for claims or policy information. So here we see that we've got a map and states that we actually have data in. If I mouse over any data point, regardless of whether it's a map or a point on an analysis, I get information about that data point. And so here I can see that in Texas we have an incurred claim cost of just over $5,000. Again, demo data here, so it's not going to be very accurate. The other thing we provide is metadata on the icon. So if I mouse over an icon, this is a system description of the analysis. It's system generated, so it's always accurate, current, and complete. One of the issues with user documentation is usually it's out of date before it even gets to production. People forget to add in those last-minute changes, either in production or after. But this is system generated, so if I go and I make any changes to this analysis, the system will update that description as I do that. Here I have a KPI summary. It's actually going to be 3 KPIs, so that's why it's a summary. And it gives me a high-level view of how I'm performing. So here I see that my repair KPIs by month, I've got I'm good, but my property and auto, I've got a bunch of failures. One of the things our system allows the business to do is you may specify what your thresholds are when you deliver this on day 1 of production, but then you may want to make changes. Well, instead of having to go back to IT, a business user with the appropriate authority, and I just double-clicked on that that first KPI to open up. You may have noticed I've jumped from My Home to Analyze. I'll come back to that in a bit. But here I see how I'm doing, and maybe after 6 months or 12 months, we say, you know what, we want to change this goal of $6,000. We've improved, we've made improvements in our efficiency. So let me go ahead and configure this KPI. And now what I want to do is I want to fail when it's above 5,500. And I want it to be warned now when it's above 5,200. So I can go ahead and save that. And you'll notice some of these have now turned to yellow. So that these are areas that I'll notice that, okay, we just got more efficient. They're close. They need to come down a little bit more. But now I've been able to make that change. I go ahead and save that. Now if I save this, it's going to apply to everybody who uses this analysis across the company. But I may say that my group is a trendsetter. I don't have permission yet at the executive level to make this change, but I want my team to leverage these new stricter values. So I'm going to save this as my team or Ben's repair KPIs by month, and I will share that with my team, and we'll use this one instead. So you have either option, again, assuming I have the privilege, which Linda has. Let me go back to My Home. I'm not going to save these. I have claims peril by peril. So it gives me an indication of how I'm doing. As I mentioned, I can mouse over this. I see that fire is one of the higher ones, as well as a theft or attempted theft. I can now go and click on fire, and let me scroll down here and click on theft or attempted theft. And I can focus on just the ones that I want in this view. I can also, by double-clicking on this, I can open up the action and open the analysis, or I can also go ahead and double-click down here. Any of these will open up this analysis for for further investigation. I have some policy analyses here where I'm looking at my new business count as well as my new business premium and how they relate to each other. And now you'll notice I have this thing in teal. All of these in olive are actual analyses. I cannot show this because this is actually a dashboard. So I'm now going to jump to the dashboard. Oh, I'm sorry, one of the things I did want to show is how easy it is to add in and configure your home page. So if I start looking at new business premium, I start to find the ones. And so I'm going to go ahead and just double click on this new business written premium. And let's assume that this is the analysis that I want. If I go now and I add this to my favorites, now I come back to my home. Remember, this is new business written premium. You will now see new business written premium. So there it is. Oops, go back to my home page. There it is on my my home page. I'll be able to look at it every time I log in. 12 months later, either my role changes or I have a better analysis I want to use now. I can just remove this from my favorites. And so that's how easy it is to manage these this home page to see exactly what you want. And it can be a dashboard, which this is, or it can be a solution or a set. So let me go ahead and open up this this dashboard, and you'll notice that I'll jump from my home over to monitor. So I double click on it, and now I've opened it. And this gives me a collection or a set of related analyses. And so I'm now able to look at how, it gives me better insight as I look across. So if I look here, I've got count of settled claims, but I also have a trending line that tells me, okay, based on these 12 months of data, here is what we expect the numbers to be going out 3 months. And I can set that to however length of time I want. That could be 5 months, that can be 2, that can be by quarters. It uses the time frame that I've specified here along my my x-axis. But I have a set of bars. Well, I'm not liking bars. I'm going to want to switch that to line. Or I can switch it to area. Or I've already had the column. I may want to go with a horizontal bar. I can go with the actual underlying data, which is the grid as well. So I can display this however I wish to see that. Let me go back to a line for this instance. The other thing I can do is I can export this. So I can export this as an Excel file, and it'll be the data that's underlying this analysis. I can export it to a CSV flat file. Maybe I want to put this in a PowerPoint, so I can export this as a PNG image, and I can then import it into PowerPoint, or I can print it. And if I do that, it's going to only affect me, nobody else. So I'm looking at this graph, but I want to now take a look at this one. I can just maximize this tile, and it swaps them. And I see that I have a bubble graph, but I also have this slider. Now I can change what I'm focused on by just zeroing in on this, and we start to see some of these bubbles that were hidden before. And if I mouse over them, I can now see what they were. My count of claims, which is my y-axis, average claims duration, my x, and then the size of the bubble gives me my average indemnity payment. If I were to go on to 4 measures, then it would obviously have to be presented as data only, because I can't display 4 dimensions in a 2-dimensional display. But through the size of the bubbles, I can capture that third. The other thing that we also now do with our current release is if the measures are along the same types of measures, then you don't necessarily have to go to a bubble graph with 3. We can actually capture that using other means as well. I can have 1 to 6 displays per page. Here I have 6. I got 5 on the bottom and 1 on top, and it allows me to be able to see that. I can filter based on, right now I have incident date. I haven't selected a time. Let me select 2011. So now I haven't changed any analysis, but this collection is filtered together to only show 2011 data. If I now want to also filter on product, let me start typing in product. No. Scroll on down. If I now want to look at my region, I can add that filter in. And I haven't specified it, but I want to focus on just the East Coast and the mountain area. So I can apply that. And again, it starts to allow me to see the data specifically as I filter it. I can have 1 to 6 displays per page. I can close this if I want more room. I can also change the size of it if I wish. But the other thing I can do is I can look at additional pages. There's no limit on the number of pages you can have. So here I have an operational page. I've got a financial page, which is now loading in. In the interest of time, I'm going to jump to the fourth one here, which is a East Coast specific one. And as I look, I'll see that this was set up for 4 displays on this page, but I haven't filled in one of them. How easy is it to add? I can go ahead and click on this content, and I can either start searching for a particular one, go into my favorites, and I can do claims by peril. I can add that in, and now I'll see that added in. I can remove that. I can change it. I can also change this page so that instead of having the 5 or the 4, I may not want to move to 5. And it'll ask me, do you want to minimize on the left, the top? So a lot of flexibility here. I'm going to add that in. But I see I've got an anomaly here, and I want to focus on just that. So if I mouse over the data point, I see that this is my East Coast Auto 2 team. So let me come over here and I want to focus just on that, so the other stuff, that noise. So I see I have a spike here. What's causing that? Well, the first thing I should do is go and see, has anybody done any analysis? What are the comments that are related to this? Someone has done some analysis. The spike in September is due to 2 claims. In particular, someone has also done some further analysis to see that one of those was due to a hailstorm in an affluent section of New Jersey. So I don't have to go in and now redo the analysis that maybe even I did 6 months ago and have just forgotten, or the analysis that someone else has done. But what if I did want to see a little deeper? Let me go ahead and open this analysis. I'll jump from Monitor to Analyze. I already know this is the East Coast Auto 2 team from my prior. Well, if you'll notice over here, my what's next, I don't have anything that's, it's all grayed out, so I haven't selected any data points. So let me just click on this one data point. I could add this to my filter. I could exclude it. I can also drill down. Let me drill down. It's going to ask me, do you want to drill down based on the organizational hierarchy, or do you want to drill down to the day of the month? I'll drill down on the organizational hierarchy. And then this is demo data, so it's not very dense, but I got this one point. Now I could still drill up. I could click on this data point, and now I could add this to my filter, exclude, or I could drill further down to day of the month, but I want to view the underlying data. So here I have the information. There's 2 claims here. I got the claims number. I may want to jot these down and be able to go into my claim system and look at my notes and diaries to do further analysis on what's going on here. But I do have a lot of information that is available here at my fingertips. And like before, I can export this to Excel, CSV, or I can go ahead and print this out. I'm going to close this up. So this helps us drive, for people on the right-hand side, people that aren't as familiar with the data. But what if I want to create a brand new analysis, or what if I want to modify an existing one? Now, I do it the exact same way, so I'm going to go ahead and go up to my set. Remember I told you about solution sets and analysis? Here's my breadcrumb. I'm in the settled claims solution. Within that, I'm in the settled claims summary, and then I have this analysis within that set. Let me go back up to this set here. I'm not going to save those. And here's all the analyses I have related in this set that are my settled claims. What I want to do now is I want to create a brand new ad hoc analysis. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to hit this plus sign. There's 3 types we have: multidimensional, geographic, which I've shown, and point in time. I can also decide which set I want to build this in. I'm in the settled claims data. I'm just going to select the multidimensional right now. Go ahead, add. And you'll see I have no data because it's a brand new one. So I'm going to close this pane to the right to give myself a little more space. And let me go ahead and add in a measure. Now I could leverage these, which are the most relevant to the set I'm in, or I can always look at all of them that are available. So let me go ahead and look at my count of claims. It was already there, but add that in. Now I want to split that by my notification date. Now I could specify my month, but I like going with a hierarchy because it gives me flexibility, which I'll show in a second. And I'm going to add in the notification date. Add that in. And here I have my 4 or 5 years of data that I have at my disposal. But what if I don't want to see the last 5? What if I actually had 15 years of data and I only want to see the last 5 or whatever I may want to look? I can filter this one of 2 ways. I can come over here and I can filter it here by adding a filter. I can also add a ranking filter to look at the top 5, top 2, bottom 5, whatever number you wish. I could also do a more general filter to the bottom. But for here, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to add a filter. Now it already knows that I've selected on the year. I could look at the last 4 quarters or the last 8 quarters, 12 quarters. I could look at the last 6 months. If I go ahead and put in 6, this is now going to give me the last 6 months of data. And this will be a rolling 6 months. So as we move forward, this will always be the last 6 months. I can exclude the current period if I wish. I can also come to my selection and say, you know what, I really want just 2011 data. I could select more if I wanted, or I could do a text match. Maybe what I want to do is I want everything that starts with January. I want to look at all my months of January. So over those 5 years, I would find only the January months or whatever I wish. Let me go back here, and I'm going to select just 2011, and I'm going to apply that filter. Now remember, I selected year, and I went with a hierarchy. I can go down to quarter. I can go down to month. I can go down to the day of the month. I'll stay here at the day of the month. I can add in other measures. We do fee payments. So now I'm seeing my count of claims as they relate to fee payments. I can add other measures. I can add in a series. Let me now select on product name. And now we see that I've got my auto and my property like before. If I just want to look at auto, if I just want to look at property, I could actually go into the filter and select just auto. If all I want to look is my auto. And again, like before, I can specify, right here I have a command and line. I could go to a scatter, or I could look at the underlying data. I finally have the analysis that I'm looking for. Like I said, I could add in more, I could page by, add more filters, and continue on any train of thought I want. But I finally have what I want. So here's my brand new analysis. So I'm going to save this as count of claims and fee payments. I could put in a purpose. This is not intended to be a description, but what's the purpose of this? Ben's team, whatever the purpose is. This is in claims. Interest of time, I'm going to skip over a bunch of this stuff, but I'll go ahead and save this. Now, Michael's on my team, so I'm going to, I could add this to my favorites. Let me go ahead and do that. I'll now find that on my home page when I go back in a second. But I can copy this link, and now I could send an email to Michael and everybody else on my team, and I could say, guys, this is what we're going to be using at our team meeting every week. Make sure you're on top of it and able to explain any anomalies that we're seeing. So that they'll now add that to their favorites. Now, when they click on that link, when it comes in Outlook or any other email, they'll get their login prompts like you saw me the first time, but they won't go to the home page. They'll come directly to this page, which will then enable them to go ahead and add that to their favorites, which will be different than mine. And again, if I go back to my home, we'll see that there's my count of claim and fee payment. So that's how you can both modify existing ones, exact same process, as well as be able to create brand new ones. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to log off as Linda Analyst. And I'm going to log in as an executive. So I'm going to log in as Andy Director. And Andy has only got a couple of things on his home page. He really is just looking at how the company is performing. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to go into these others. I just want to see claims duration by region. So Andy can look and say, whoa, mountain region, what's going on? It's in red. The others are in yellow. I can take care of that. But I want to find out why the mountain is in red. So Andy could go ahead and open this up and then save the link like I just did. And he can send that off to Clay, who's the manager of the mountain area. He could do more things if he wished, but In the interest of time, Andy's seen what he needs to do. He has saved the link. He sent it over to Clay, who's going to find out what's going on in the mountain area. So let me log off as Andy. And let me log in now as Clay. So Clay is the manager in that mountain area. And you'll again notice his homepage looks different. But the other thing you'll notice is he's got the same analysis that Andy had, but the company has decided that Clay can only see his data. So even though we have the exact same analysis, claims duration by region, you'll see that Clay can only see the mountain. He can't see the East Coast and the Midwest and the other regions. So right away, he's been notified by Andy what's going on here. So he's going to open this up. And he's going to open up this left pane. And he wants to do is look at the team. What teams are, is it everybody? Okay, it's not everybody. Let me go ahead and sort. I'm going to select just these first two, because these are the first two in red. And I'm going to add those to my filters. So now I'm only seeing this area. Now let me go and drill down to the handler or the agent. And again, I can sort, and I can now see these are the people I need to go talk to. I need to find out why they are not meeting the KPI goal. And once I've talked with them, I may find out why, and I can communicate that back to Andy. I can either do it through a comment by adding in a comment, or I can go ahead and I can just give them a call or email. Let me log off as Clay and get to my last one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as David Network. And David is responsible for the in-network and out-of-network body shops. And as this comes up, you'll see that he's got some issues with the average cost of repair by these different areas. His network ones are fine, but his non-network body shops are not. They're above the KPI goal. So let me go ahead and open this up. And we see that same thing as before, just bigger. Now I have two options. There's only two rows here. I can go ahead and exclude the first row and to get to the second, or I can just add this to my filter. Let me now open up this left pane. Close this over here. I don't need that anymore. And now what I want to do is I want to add in another dimension. And I'm going to add in repairer name. And there it is. Add that in. It's going to take a little while to load this data. There's a lot of data there. And what I'm going to find is there are some who are green, there are some in yellow, and there are some in red. So not everybody in my non-network is over the SLA. There's only a couple. Let me go ahead and sort this. I have my worst performers. Now I can sort in either direction. There we go. I'm seeing that a couple of my body shops are over twice what I expect my KPI goal to be. Now I can't tell an insured who they can take their car to get repaired, but I may want to start looking at some of these claims. Maybe these are padded. I want to find out why these are so high, because I do have some, if I scroll on down, of my network. In fact, I got a lot. They're actually in green. So it's not just that they're in the out of network. So hopefully this has showed how I can do some drill down based on individual performance as well as region. There's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what our system can provide. But with this, I'm going to go back to the presentation. And we focus on 4 areas on all 3 of our products, claims, policy, as well as analytics. And what the drivers for us are first a data value driven organization, enabling a carrier to become a data value driven. And this is enabling business value to drive data mastery, which means your BI, your analytics, your governance. The digital journey. This is the use of digital data within Insurer workflows to improve the ease of doing business, the speed or efficiency in which you process that business, and your business decisions, making them smarter decisions. We want to future-proof our solutions so that you're able to continue to leverage our system as the technological changes continue to happen, and they're happening faster and faster. So this is being able to take advantage of advanced technologies, partners. We partner to provide you more capabilities as well as easier upgrades. And customer brand and loyalty, leveraging, focusing on the customer to enable customer personalization, ease of use, self-service, being able to provide the value by focusing on all four of these areas, providing value and business sustainability. And around the digital journey specifically, we're looking to offer hybrid apps. We believe that the strict mobile app isn't going to be the way. It's very similar to the client server solutions of the past. Brand positioning, social media, your website presence, cloud, designing for mobile first, and leveraging external data. So all going to be part of our solution, as Michael said, trying to be able to put this in, at your fingertips. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Michael.
Thanks, Ben. So it's very helpful to see how we can look to leverage the data that's part of a composite system and be able to put that in play as far as bringing your data to life, being able to pull in all of the aspects of your solutions into one view and be able to visualize that information and then leverage it to move forward as we work into all of the dynamics that go into what we're calling the digital journey at the moment as well. But there are core main office aspects, and in the last 5 minutes, just really wanted to highlight some of the pieces that perhaps get lost when we think about core solutions and metrics, and go down the path of just providing that to you as well. Some of these key features really are looking at a solution that provides you the system of record, which is what we had in the center part of our presentation here on this slide. Exception-based processing, push things to you that need to be dealt with as opposed to you having to go source things to confirm that they're okay. Having the system self-document, because a lot of the things that we do are very standard cookie-cutter transactions that need to be documented, and we don't need to be able to have people do the play-by-play that goes into those as well. And then typically get into making sure that we track everything and we miss nothing. I have just a couple quick views for you of Insurer main office. The first one is the client summary, where we can track not just a composite view of the client, but a real-time view of the client for all of their contact, billing, quote, policies, claim, tasks, complaints, and communication history, all in one view instantly for any of the users that you give roles and permissions to do that as well. I'm just going down the left-hand side of the navigation panel here, and I'm going to roll down to the next slide and show you also that we're also tracking, and again, all of these are composite pieces that can go back into analytics as well, but we're also providing information immediately based on every kind of relationship that this particular person has with our organization. So they could be a policyholder, a service provider, they could be our lawyer, they could be any other aspects of that. Everything in the system is role and permission driven, and we track from when those relationships get established. We can associate those out as well, and also include within this process relationships between people as well. So who else is in this household that relates to it as well? So we have all of those pieces in place for you. Again, talking about instant of everything, instant history. So from a call center perspective, I can see every interaction that my client has had with me as the carrier and what order those are in. Again, all of these are sortable and searchable. Who touched the point at all aspects of this? I don't know how many times you always say, I don't know who you talk to, but here's where I can help you. We can actually see all of those history interaction points as part of the solution. So again, beyond bringing your data to life, which is a business intelligence tool, beyond operational reporting, to being able to track every interaction with your customer, we believe, is key to any solution going forward. Now, moving from the customer to how am I aligned instantly within how I want to track my business, alignment checking or tracking grid. How are we doing, for example, Ben was using for claims for his presentation today. How am I doing on my model of my SLAs, service level agreements for policy and claims? And this one here gives us that kind of view as well. So we can instantly go in and see where we are not hitting the mark. Again, all from the navigation panel, all from the main office for those managers that they have access to this as well. Instant audit. We can see who signed in, how long it took them to do a particular piece of this solution, what kind of workflow they were working on. All of those aspects are tracked as well. So we think about SOX or audit compliance, it's all there as well. This rolls all back to what I referenced earlier in the presentation around being able to feed back to the financial general ledger within the solution. Not only can we pull up reports, as you can see from the navigation panel here, we can also then click on specifics. So for example, if I want to go see one particular element within all of the process transactions here, so I want to go to 2762 as a file, I can instantly click on the view. It will take me into that particular file. This is not a snapshot, this is real time. I can be actionable and I can make changes to that particular policy. Or if I clicked on a claim, which I'm going to pull up next, the claim is instantly there. I can see all the history for that as well. So we have bringing data to life from a business analytics perspective, and we have bringing data to your fingertips from a main office perspective as well with Insurer solution. Finally, for carriers perhaps that don't want to have a source control management system independent of their solution, all of the self-documentation also goes back into the configuration aspect of the system where we create what we call work packages. Each one of these work packages self-documents all the changes that are done within the solution as well, and all those are available to you, as part of the way to have a comprehensive audit and actionable data that you can use within Insurer Analytics. With that, we're reaching the top of the hour, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time. For those of you that may be attending ISA, we will be attending. Both Ben and I will be there as well. We will be also participating at that venue with a claims and business analytics vendor connect tours, as well as we have one of our customers from Guide 1, Doug Krigser, who's going to be talking on maximizing greenfield value within core systems. He's launched actually a new business within the Guide 1 organization, and is leveraging our analytics and policy system. And on top of that, of course, come by and see us. And Ben, I don't know if you had any closing notes you wanted to say.
The only thing I'd add, Michael, is hopefully we've shown how you can start to bring your data to life, take it from a passive, dormant asset that you have into an active, vibrant, high business value asset.
Thank you, Ben. And with that, thank you very much for your time today. And please feel free to reach out to either of us or to our organization. We'd be more than happy to discuss anything that you saw that was of interest to you. Thank you very much.